The creation of Anioma State being championed presently by Senator Ned Nwoko is the crux of the matter. That is the focus now. You know, the Igbos in the southeast, that we have seen that our brothers that has been marginalized, that has been carved out of us, that has been marooned into southwest, they are eager to come to us. That's why many of us are in support of the Anioma State and the ceding of Anioma State to where they originally belong. And whatever that we are doing, we should not forget the Banke people. The Banke people said they cannot be left behind.
But for this to happen for Igbo land, there must be unity. But first, I want to return to what I said earlier. Igbo, bu Igbo. The contemporary distinctions we often make today about Igbo identity, they're not cultural identities, they're political identities. There's a difference between a cultural identity and a political identity. When we say somebody is Delta Igbo, it is a political identity. It is not a cultural identity. Igbo-speaking peoples are one nation, one language, with different...
To be the factor, many factors that led to this identity crisis. One of it is an effect of civil war. Okay. Because after the civil war, there are a lot of government policy that was enacted that is against anything that is Igbo. So a whole lot of people were trying to escape that policy. And for you to escape the policy, you must deny not being part of this. Okay. If you say you are an Igbo person, that means even if you have 20 billion in your account, you only entitled of 20 pounds. So for you not to lose what you have labored for. So what is there that I'm not Igbo? Where are you from? You claim anywhere. That is the genesis and one of the major reasons a whole lot of us are denying. And
all Igbo peoples are Igbo. Nobody is more Igbo than another. Igbo bu Igbo.
So the Igbo Unification project is still ongoing, and we are not going to rest until that unification is achieved. So if you have a medium, if you're a public person, and if you are not using it to achieve the Igbo unity, you are not helping your tribe. If you have a channel and you are not using it to promote Igbo unity, you are out of place. And the only thing you can do if you don't have any of these avenues is for you to share this video. That's the only thing you can do. Share the video. Let it get to every Igbo person. Let them be aware of this Igbo unity.
If all of the governors of the Igbo-speaking states and all of the senators from the Igbo states decided to come together in unity and put away party affiliations, it would confer on Igbo land a great bargaining power for policies that will benefit all of Igbo land.
Let me also sound this warning. Some non-Igbos, they don't like this Igbo unification that is happening now. They are not happy about it. So if you see such people or such comments, please ignore them or bash them well. Make sure that you bash them well. Well, I've started seeing them already in my previous video. I see them.
You see, most of what people know about the Igbos are second-hand information. And once information passes from one person to the other, it loses its meaning, can get amplified or distorted. There was one thing I noticed about the Igbos then, and still, if you live with them in their community, they treat you like one.
Grandchild.
One is a grandchild. And as a one, when you go to your mother's place, you can cut any plantain. No person will disturb you. And so they have a way of treating strangers with extreme caution.
And that is the reason why they decided to place what is called divide and rule strategy, division among us. Because they believe that if these people are able to come together, having this kind of doggedness in them that they will rule the world. So what are we going to do to keep them weak is to divide them. So they planted that seed of divide and rule strategy, which you and I are battling today. So most of our youth that you see today that are saying, I know at the end I know be this, they are acting the script they met. There's a script already. So most of them are.
Let me tell you guys, if you are not on board, then you are leaving behind. The Igbo Unification project is going on, and everybody must be part of it. It's not everything. When you see some things going on like this awareness that we are creating, especially the Anioma state that is about to come, that is the major focus now. So, but, you know, it's part of the Igbo unification that we are talking about, even though the unification cut across political boundaries. It's not about geographical location that we are talking about when it comes to Igbo unification. If you don't know it now. It's ongoing. The President General of Ohanes and Igbo is from Ikwere, Rivers State. So, in as much as that, you know, we are trying to let people understand that anywhere you are, any state you are, that your Igbo-ness is not left behind. And people should get it into their head that dialect is not language. If I speak my dialect, my native dialect, though I don't even know how to speak it very well, but I can speak Central Igbo. Another person might not understand from another part of Igbo land. Dialect is different. That somebody is speaking Ika Igbo is a dialect in Igbo land. If Ika man is speaking, I will understand what he's saying. The only thing is that his own, you know, speech will be going up. You need to put your ear on the ground so that you understand what he's saying. And sometimes if they are talking, it's as if they are asking questions. They say, Kakime. I say, Aremumma. Kakime, Aremumma. Sometimes I'll make jokes. Say, Kakime is like you are asking me questions, but me, I understood what they are saying. Aremumma, you are as if you are asking me questions again, but we're saying that now the mumma. So going by what we are saying, another thing is that some people will not like this Igbo project. Many don't like it. Many outside Nigeria say, even the people that you know, brought us together, our colonial masters, you know, before, even then they thought that Igbo man is too smart, you know, and the kind of trouble that we gave them when the colonialism was going on, they still don't, you know, be at home with it. So sometimes they look us with one eye. So when we come together, it becomes a unifying force. A unifying force against the Igbo land. That is the point. People should get these points very clear. And like I said, what you can do alone is to share the videos, let it get to other people. Let people be on the same page. Now, I'm going to show you some clip coming from Chimamanda Adichie, the tigress, the popular icon that we have from Igbo land. Let's listen to her.
If all of the governors of the Igbo-speaking states and all of the senators from the Igbo states decided to come together in unity and put away party affiliations, it would confer on Igbo land a great bargaining power for policies that will benefit all of Igbo land. Different ethnic groups in multi-ethnic countries across the world all engage in this kind of political bargaining. But for this to happen for Igbo land, there must be unity. But first, I want to return to what I said earlier, Igbo, bu Igbo. The contemporary distinctions we often make today about Igbo identity, they're not cultural identities, they're political identities. There's a difference between a cultural identity and a political identity. When we say somebody is Delta Igbo, it is a political identity. It is not a cultural identity. Igbo-speaking peoples are one nation, one language, with different dialects. All languages have dialects. A dialect is not a language. So let us use Germany as an example. Germanic tribes have existed for centuries in Western Europe, but it was only relatively recently in the 19th century that these Germanic tribes decided to come together with the different dialects of the same language, German, and they united to form what we now know as the modern German state. Political identities are acts of political expediency. They're transient, they're fleeting, and they're hollow at the core. But cultural identities come from shared language, shared traditions, shared ideals. All Igbo peoples are Igbo. Nobody is more Igbo than another. Igbo bu Igbo. I do not believe that people should be excluded from a cultural identity into which they have been born just because they do not speak the language, which is really a fault that is their parents rather than theirs. But I do believe that language matters. When I had my daughter, I made the conscious decision to speak only Igbo to her. She's now 2.5, and she speaks Igbo. I also love the English language, and sometimes I miss not speaking it to her at this young age. But I know that she's growing up in a world that is not steeped in Igbo. And even when we're back in Nigeria, her relatives in Nigeria don't speak Igbo. Igbo, I must speak English. And I know that she will learn English and that I can speak both languages to her when she is older. But what I'm always struck by is the surprise that people show, Igbo people in particular, sometimes shock when they realize that my child speaks Igbo. Why? I grew up speaking both languages quite easily. There are Igbo parents who, when asked why they don't speak Igbo to their children, they say, oh, it will confuse them. And then they go on promptly to sign up their children for French lessons. So it is not a question of a second language confusing a child. It is not a question of whether a child can learn to speak Igbo. It is a question of how much value we give our language, and by extension, our history, our culture, our identity. When did our language become something to be ashamed of? Some people have said that Igbo has no global power, or as one parent put it to me, this is not true. Igbo speaking opens you up to a new way of seeing the world because language and worldview are so closely intertwined. Igbo also happens to be a particularly beautiful and wise language. But even if it wasn't, the simple fact of being bilingual benefits a child's intellectual development. I think it is a gift that a parent can give a child, and it cannot do any harm to that child. But here, I do not mean Igbo speaking as performance. I don't mean where a child says one word in Igbo and we applaud. Or when Igbo parents, both of them Igbo speaking, talk about wanting to find Igbo classes for their children. Why don't you just speak Igbo to them in everyday conversation? Why don't we normalize it? Why don't we make it ordinary? Language matters because language is the conduit to...
Yes, you have heard that voice of that tigress, that unmistakable voice of Chimamanda Adichie. In fact, the Igbo nation has somebody in her, just like Chinua Achebe. That lady, I learned that she did not collect a national award that was given to her. They want to give her an award just like the one they want to give Chinua Achebe. She rejected it. Rather, she go for chieftaincy title in her village. You see? So you must have learned one or two things from what she's saying. This Anioma project is bringing out so many things, and there's not that, that it is a new thing, or it's not new, but this time around is becoming hot. It's becoming hot and hotter. That's why we are talking about this, to create the awareness so that many of us will become aware of this. The idea of speaking Igbo, yes, very important. I myself, I speak Igbo to my children. So, but, they are not perfect, but I intentionally speak Igbo to them so that they will grab it and, know how to speak it very well. Even though you have a lot of people living in Asaba, ethnic groups living in Asaba. But Asaba basically is an Igbo-speaking, place. But we have advantage of Igbo. You see, the Igbo people travel more than every other tribe that I know. Imagine where you travel and you travel with your language all over the world. You know what that means? As an Igbo man that is everywhere in the whole world, you travel with your language. Most of the things you do it in your language. You know what that means? That is a very big advantage to us. So, but we are not utilizing it. It's as if we are throwing it to the wind. The Chinese people, they are very smart. Chinese people, you see it on social media, they are teaching their children Igbo language. Have you not seen it before? The Chinese people. Because they do business with Igbo people. They do many things with Igbo people. In fact, Igbo people are the major importers in Nigeria. That's why some of us are angry. We are the major importers in Nigeria, and yet there is no seaport in Igbo land. So just tell me how we came to this. So these Chinese people, they are teaching their children how to speak Igbo. Though it's not everybody, but you have seen it on social media severally where they teach their children how to speak Igbo. So for you to be an Igbo man and that you are traveling everywhere in the whole world, you are abroad and anywhere you are, it is an advantage. That language you are speaking, which is Igbo language, is an advantage to every other language. But however, let us listen to this, little conversation where the history of this identity issue, where we think this identity issue of Anioma people started. It's a kind of trying to defend yourself, a survivor, just kind of a game of survivor. That is how it started. And their parents are to be blamed somehow, but not totally to be blamed, because they are looking for a way to survive. Guy, when it comes to life, people can do anything to survive. But now they have said, no, we have gone so long, let us retrace our step. Anything that is happening to us, let it happen to all of us. We are the same. So let's get this message.
Happened to be the factor, many factors that led to this identity crisis. One of it is an effect of civil war. Okay. Because after the civil war, there are a lot of government policy that was enacted that is against anything that is Igbo. So a whole lot of people were trying to escape that policy. And for you to escape the policy, you must deny not being part of this. Okay. If you say you are an Igbo person, that means even if you have 20 billion in your account, you only entitled of 20 pounds. So for you not to lose what you have labored for. So what is there that I'm not Igbo? Where are you from? You claim anywhere. That is the genesis and one of the major reasons a whole lot of us are denying. And the people that are actually pushing this identity issue now are not involved from the beginning. Okay. Their parents are parents who actually embark on that journey of denying who they are. Most of them are no more alive to tell us the reason why they did what they did. But out of research and some of the things we have done, we've actually discovered that it was not an intentional. They were doing that for survivor. Okay, for survivor. For survivor. They were doing that for survivor. Because it was a game of if you can't beat them, you join them. That is all.
So that has eaten deep into
the fabric
of the Anioma-ness in us.
And
in fact, I was just doing a video trying to respond to my brother Ejikeme Obioko, who said he's an Inuani man, but he's not a descendant of Igbo.
There is something I want to correct.
So,
sorry.
I was just wondering, and under the statement, and he went ahead to request for Anioma State that we need Anioma State, that it doesn't care wherever it is posited. And people came under to start saying no, they don't, just because of the what you said, civil war and the Biafran agitation.
Yes.
You want
what he said is that when he said he's an Inuani man, that he's not a descendant of an Igbo. I want to say this. This is one of the major things that most people have come in contact with, are struggling with. It's an information we need to correct. I'm an Igbo man. I am not a descendant of Igbo. Anambra man is an Igbo man. He's not a descendant of Igbo. I'm what is it called? Anioma man. I'm not a descendant of Anioma.
But an Igbo man.
But I'm an Igbo man. So why am I saying this? When most of us believe that when they accept being Igbo, it simply means they came from somewhere in Igbo land. That is something they should understand. Last time, yeah, that is the mentality, but that is not true. Because when you look at the formation that makes us, all of us, this is a kind of vice versa. When we talk about migration, there are people who migrate down, there are people who migrate back. So it's a vice versa. You cannot claim that this is where you are coming from. But the truth is that what we possess has actually shown to us that we are all one.
Okay. Is Ezechima an Igbo man or a Bini man?
That is what I cannot say.
When you to support Mama in her submission, the word, there are things you need to know.
Yes.
Having preserved that name, Ezechima, you should know that that name, that word actually belongs to a certain language family.
Okay.
So who are the people? Where do you find that such word? Eze and Chime or Chima. It falls under the Igbo language family. So that means Eze Chima, to have had that name, shows that he's an Igbo man.
Some people have said that it is Eze Ekimi.
Now where is the Eze coming from? If a Kimi should be at the end, where is the Eze coming from? You see, one thing we should do is this. Our people, it's time we begin to tell ourselves the truth. What I see among our people is inferiority complex. I use the word
and fear of the unknown.
And fear of, there is nothing to fear. There is nothing like unknown to be fear of. Coming out to say this is who I am, because you have looked at your tradition, you have looked at your culture, your name is there. When we look at you as a human being, there are characters that you possess. Anyone a man cannot behave like an Hausa person.
It's not possible.
Anyone a man cannot behave like an Yoruba person. Anyone a man cannot behave like Isoko and a Chekiri person. But when you see an anyone a man and you see an Onitsha person, there is nothing different in character, even in physics. When you look at his physical build and all that,
culture,
nothing tells you know that we are nothing but one. But I just told you that something happened. The word Igbo has been under a kind of attack, not even from today. If you are studied and read very wide to see that the word Igbo has actually faced a lot of persecution from within and outside. How did I mean? When you look at our contact with the foreigners, from Portuguese to the Britain and to all the white that actually came into this area, you discover that the word Igbo that you see that we are facing division today is not just because people hate us, but it is because of the transaction where we have had in time past with the Europeans. Number one, you look at the Aba Women Riot, you look at the Kumeku War, you look at the Isuama Resistance. There are a lot of things that give that name a kind of issue that is suffering today. The Britain, I will not make this statement without dropping this word. What P2B is suffering today is linked to the word Igbo. Not that P2B is not qualified to lead Nigeria. The white are not even ready to give their support to anything Igbo in ruling Nigeria because of what they went through in our hand. We resisted them.
Yes.
Yorubas were very easy to penetrate. Hausas were very easy to penetrate. The Portuguese who came through Iguacha, the river state, were chased because our people were seeing it. They were trained to us. We never saw something that were coloring that way. They were chased. They ran through the sea down to the west where they meet the Yorubas, who are the Oduduwas. They were easy to blend. And for that, up to today, Britain is still keeping that.
Enmity.
They're still keeping that. So the word Igbo face challenge whenever it's been mentioned. So our forefathers decided to take a work out of that name, to create a word of their own that can give them identity that differs from that word Igbo. But they started this journey from a very long time, which has taken over 10 to 50 how would I say, over 10 decades, over 100 years, that this issue of trying to separate us themselves from where they're supposed to be. Till now,
It's more than 2 cents.
But the Ekumeku war. Ekumeku, that's but I like to highlight it Ekuneku because you don't speak. That war was not fought across the Niger.
yes,
And it was called Igbo resistance.
Igbo
In fact, they called it the Western Igbo resistance.
Yeah.
now
That war was fought around the Anioma and not Anioma is a political statement. The Enuani region. It was fought there.
well, let me say what you are just saying. We had the white had a lot of encounter with us. There is Isuama resistance. This Isuama resistance, there are people who partake to it because people who migrated out of Isuama, you look at these Ndoni people, you look at these some part of Ikwere River State.
Yeah.
Most of them trace their genealogy to Isuama. Even those who are pointing Akalaka and so, it's within the Isuama axis, stroke, Abo and whatsoever. No, one thing is that if you say you are not Igbo, you must lay hand on somewhere so that you will not fall your hand. That is the reason why most of them are paying allegiance from beginning to the Benin.
Okay.
But the truth is that we have Isuama resistant, we have Ekumeku war, we have what is it called? Okwane, Awa, Otu, you know, there are a lot of residents that the white men, and that is the reason why they decided to place what is called divide and rule strategy, division among us. Because they believe that if these people are able to come together, having this kind of doggedness in them, that they will rule the world. So what are we going to do to keep them weak? Is to divide them. So they planted that seed of divide and rule strategy, which you and I are battling today. So most of our youth that you see today that are saying, I know I know be this, they are acting the script they met. There's a script already. So most of them are not even ready to take step forward further to actually discover what actually transpired.
They fail to ask themselves very simple question.
Yeah. Why did I bear this name?
Yes.
Why did I have 4 market days?
Yeah.
Why did we have OB? Why did you have this? Why did you have Ada? Why did you have Opara? There are some things you look at our community name as spiritual affiliation. I told somebody, I said, Oga, there are some of the things that you inherited from your forefathers aside the land. One thing you must not kill, but you want to know where you are coming from, is your spiritual journey.
My brother, apart from that, the white men came with churches to deceive us. You understand me? It was through that church they were able to divide us. When they take the woman, they take the children. Then maybe when the man is resisting, the woman will go for her husband, come to church. You understand me? So they divided us among ourselves. And that is what we are suffering today. If you come to think of it, parents failed their children. It is not the fault of the children. It is the fault of the parents who failed to talk to their children. Because your grandfather, from a child to the grandfather, should be able to know what happened that time. If you met your grandfather, you have met your ancestors. But these days, people talk of church more than their tradition, their culture. You understand me? When you're telling them something, no, don't go to this festival, don't do this. It is against the rule of the Lord, you know, this, that. But behind them, they do something else. They know the truth, but they cannot come out openly to say the truth.
So my people, I'm going to wrap it up, but I want to believe that you are getting the awareness gradually as we move on. But you must have learned a lot from that video that I just, showed you guys. So many clips I showed you guys. These are just some of the things I have to let you know the situation that we are on ground. So, but don't forget to key into this project that is ongoing. These are the legacies that we are going to leave for our children that are yet unborn. They don't know the people that fought the fight. So, but that is what we are doing now. We want to leave a good legacy for them so that when they come up, they will enjoy this peaceful and united Igbo nation that was, intentionally deprived from us because of some selfish interest. So, but now we are awakening to the reality of things and we are trying to mend what has been destroyed. Well, until I come your way next time, I am still your humble presenter, Chinedu. I say bye.